and bring it back on the bus and finish on the bus. After we finish the break, the last part of the tour will cover the Katrina area, and that part of town you had anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of water. Now you gotta imagine the first 90% of the tour gonna look like everything had been repaired. When I get to the last part of the tour, you see a lot of the stuff that's still damaged 10 years later from Katrina, and some of the new stuff they built to keep the water out of the city. Now, what I plan on doing this morning is really give you a nice little layout of the city, and at the same time get a better understanding what happened to Katrina. Katrina happened August 29, 2005. When the storm came through the city, initially all they did was a little wind damage, a little water in the streets, and all the utilities was knocked out. It wasn't until like late on that day when the walls began to break and the water came back in the city. I know you keep hearing about levees, but really it's not levees, it's solid concrete walls. 80% of this city is below sea level. So all that rain we had last night, if it didn't have to pump the water out of the city would flood. So keep in mind, you got all these drainage canals that run throughout the city, and when they drain the water out of the city, they don't pump the water to the river, which is behind me. They pump all the water out to Lake Pontchartrain. So what happened with Katrina was when the storm surge came in from the Gulf of Mexico, pushed that water back to Lake Pontchartrain, pushed that water back to those drainage canals. Those canal walls began to rock back and forth, and the walls collapsed. That's how the water came back into those canals. Now, people always ask all the time, why we did not evacuate the city? Keep in mind, to evacuate the city takes a minimum of 36 hours. By the time they recognized the storm was coming, they had less than 19 hours to try to evacuate the city. So once they call for an evacuation, those that have transportation like myself, I can get in my car, take my family out of town. Those who did not have transportation, the city picked them up in buses, and because they didn't have enough time to get out of town, that's why they dropped everybody off at the Superdome. Once the storm came through the city, the highest winds was clocked at 175 miles an hour. So when that storm came through the city, it ripped a portion of the Superdome roof open and knocked all the lights out inside the Superdome, the sewage back inside the Superdome, and had about 5 feet of water inside the Superdome. That's why from now on, the American Red Cross said from now on, nothing 50 miles inside the city should ever be used as shelters anymore. Not just deal with the water, but also deal with the wind. Again, most of these buildings downtown surrounded by glass. A lot of your hotels are living in surrounded by glass. Possibility winds that strong may suck you out those buildings. So from now on, nothing 50 miles out of the city should be used as shelters anymore. Now, when I do my tours, I call them my tours show and tell. It's simple what I mean by show and tell. Whenever we talk about something, you get a chance to see what it is I'm talking about, all right? Yeah. Also feel free to anytime during the tour if you have any questions, just get my attention, and I'm going to do the best I can to answer your question. If by chance you ask me a question, if I don't know the answer, I tell you I don't know it, I don't make it up as I go along, okay? I've been around now for 55 years, and I learned the easy way to tell the truth today is the truth tomorrow, right? Not just on Sunday. Now let me stand up a second and give you the proper introduction. That way you can kind of see what it looks like standing up instead of looking at this boss by the back of my head from next year. Okay, right? I was just riding and talking because I had to watch for the meter maid, so y'all keep an eye on so that's why I was doing a little talking and riding, but we're going to do a little talking right now. Now, when we talk about the city itself, let's go back and talk about history. How did it be called Louisiana? Let's go back to 1682. 1682, King Louis XIV, the King of France, wanted to establish a trade route that went from Canada back to Europe a quicker way. So in 1682, King Louis XIV, the King of France, commissioned a guy by the name of Robert LaSalle. Robert LaSalle in 1682, by way of the Illinois River, got to the Mississippi River and floated down until he got to the Gulf of Mexico. When LaSalle got to the mouth of the river, he stepped on dry ground and took a cross. On that cross, he took a coat of arms. He staked in the ground. He declared all the land east and west of the Mississippi River. He called that Louisiana in honor of King Louis XIV. That was 1682. Let's go from 1682 to 1699. 1699, two brothers, one named Iberville, one named Bienville, both being commissioned by King Louis XIV. They wanted to come down and establish a trading post and a colony. In 1699, the group was called the West Company. They did by way of the Atlantic Ocean to get in the Gulf of Mexico in 1699, got to the mouth of the river, came up the river from mile 69. They stepped on dry ground and stepped on the original city, which is the French Quarter. 1699, Iberville called it Bayou Mardi Gras. The reason he called it Bayou Mardi Gras, it was founded the day before the Catholic holiday, which is Ash Wednesday. Mardi Gras, once you interpret our language, Mardi Gras means Tuesday. Bayou Mardi Gras, 1699. Let's go from 1699, 1718. 1718, his brother Bienville named the city for no other day. Bienville called the city New Orleans. He named after the Duke of Orleans in France. That's the old Orleans. Here's the new Orleans. 1718, they asked Bienville a question. Why did you want to be a city on this land? That was the French Quarter now. 1718, Bienville City, because this land would never flood. That statement made in 1718. To show what he saw, he made that statement. My hands will represent the land of French Quarter. On three sides of the city was swamp land. The front was the Mississippi River. This was the only land above the water, so that's really why he built the city there. So Katrina came along August 29, 2005, and 80% of the city did flood. Guess what? French Quarter did not flood. The only reason the French Quarter is not flooded, the French Quarter is actually the highest land in the city. French Quarter sits somewhere between 10 to 15 feet above sea level, whereas majority of New Orleans below sea level. Other than French Quarter, other high ground in New Orleans, believe it or not, is right behind the Mississippi River. In New Orleans, to leave the river, you go downhill, you go back up around Lake Pontchartrain. If you look at a map of the city, around the city line between the lake and the river, there's nothing but a big bowl of water running down the bottom. You ever heard them sing this song before, Down by the River? We don't sing like that no, we're going up to the river, that's our high ground. Give you a good example, like the street on Headquarters, a block and a half from the river by the casino will be 0 water. Right now, we're about 7 blocks from the river, 2 feet of water. Superdome is 14 blocks away, 5 feet of water. Now remember, the water's come from the lake, so as you go up here, you got less and less water. And kind of toward the front, but look at the traffic lights and the street lights. You see the street begin to tilt and go down here. Kind of get the traffic lights, kind of let you see it start going down. And that's the river behind. I remind everybody my name is not Moses, but if you follow me, get you out that water, right? Let's talk about downtown, get you out of that. This is a new downtown developed in the 1970s. What made them make this a new downtown, they looked at 3 things: the Mississippi River, the French Quarter, and the Louisiana Superdome. And what they were looking at is that once you're downtown, if you don't mind walking, everything within 15 to 30 minutes of walking, because everything's convenient to downtown. A lot of time as tourists, you get lost in the city a lot, right? It's not your fault. Let me take you back to 1830. In 1830, New Orleans was divided by language. They spoke 2 different languages in the city of New Orleans. Some spoke French and some spoke English. What happened in the 1830s, there was a lot of money to be made along the Mississippi River in shipping and trade. So a lot of people from the north came to the south. Those from the north that came to the south, there was American that spoke English. Those that here were American, but they spoke French. Because the language was different, they decided to divide the city based on language. Excuse me, our main street is called Canal Street. Canal is what we call the neutral ground. That's where the city was divided at. On this side of Canal Street, they spoke English. On the other side, they spoke French. You get lost majority of the time, you don't realize. It depends on what side of Canal Street you stand on. Streets got 2 different names. Like, for example, they were on our English side. Street directly behind is Baronne. 3 blocks away, you go to the French Quarter, it's called Dauphine. Street behind is Coran de Let. You go to the French Quarter, is Bourbon. Next street is St. Charles. You go to the French Quarter, is Royal. Next street is Camp. You go to the French Quarter, is Charter. Next street is Magazine. You go to the French Quarter, Decatur. And a lot of times as tourists, they always give you a French Quarter map, right? That's only good for that side of town. So they give you the map for both sides so they don't get lost, all right? You got to be extra careful because guess what? The taxi cab driver will take advantage of that. So you're going to catch a cab from a block of Royal Street, or go around a block of St. Charles. They're really directly across the street from each other. But they figure you don't know any better, so give you a long cab, bro. Charge you about $20. As soon as you step out the cab, you're going to notice I was just broke. This hotel we parked in front of over here is called a Pavillon. Hotel been around since the 1920s. The doorman was a tuxedo and a top hat. This hotel is famous for more recently. If anybody saw the movie Two Guns with Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg, and Palacin, they used this hotel to film some of those scenes for the movie Two Guns. All right, some scenes for 2 Guns.
I saw that one.
All right. That's what I had to talk about. We beat the meter bed for a minute. Now today our economy is based off of tourism, so a lot of these old buildings downtown that were vacant before Katrina are now hotels. A lot of these old buildings that were vacant before Katrina are now hotels. And since we're a tourist town, we're be very good at bringing different events and different attractions to the city every year. 2013, we hosted the Super Bowl in 2013. We have the Jazz Fest every year. We have Mardi Gras every year. So the question is always asked, how we keep the crowds under control? Our secret to dealing with the crowds is very simple. We keep them highly intoxicated, keep them drunk, where they can't move out of the city. You know, when you walk around North, you walk around Great